Have you ever started something full of excitement, but somewhere along the way, you stopped? You told yourself you'd get back to it, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into years? Deep down, you knew success was possible, yet it kept slipping away? I've been there, and today, I want to share the story of a man who turned pain into purpose, and in the process, built a life no one thought possible. This story begins in New Orleans, Louisiana. A boy named Emmett Perry Jr. grew up in a world far from the bright lights of Hollywood. The world would later call him Tyler Perry, a name tied to movies, plays, and one of the largest film studios in America. But back then, he was just a kid trying to survive. Tyler's childhood was turbulent. His father was abusive, and home often felt like a war zone. He faced not only physical abuse, but also the heavy burden of sexual trauma, the kind of pain no child should ever experience. School didn't feel like an escape, and there were days when simply making it through felt like an achievement. By the time he was a teenager, Tyler was carrying wounds most people couldn't see. And that's when he found something unexpected: writing. With a notebook and a pen, he began pouring out his pain, his thoughts, and his dreams. It wasn't just a hobby, it became his therapy, his safe place, his voice. He wrote letters to himself, words of encouragement, hope, and belief. At the time, he didn't know this habit was inspired by an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show, where she talked about the power of writing down your thoughts and dreams. But it stuck with him. As Tyler grew older, those writings turned into stories, and eventually those stories became plays. But here's the truth: success didn't arrive with his first try. In 1992, Tyler used his savings to produce his first play, I Know I've Been Changed. He was sure it would be a hit. He put everything into it: time, money, and belief. But when the lights came up, the seats were nearly empty. The play flopped. He lost every dollar he had invested. And for most people, that would have been the end. But not for Tyler. Something inside him refused to quit. He got side jobs, saved money, and kept rewriting the script. Every year for the next 6 years, he brought the play back, sometimes to the same empty rooms, sometimes to audiences who barely clapped. And yes, there were nights he slept in his car because he couldn't afford rent. But he showed up anyway, handing out flyers on street corners, knocking on church doors, asking pastors to announce his shows, selling tickets himself. And slowly, things began to change. One night in 1998 in Atlanta, something unexpected happened. The audience wasn't just full, it was alive. People laughed, cried, and stood up to clap. Word began to spread. Suddenly the man who had spent years being ignored was the man everyone wanted to see. This is when Tyler introduced the character that would change his life: Medea, a sharp-tongued, wise, and hilarious grandmother who told uncomfortable truths with love and humor. People couldn't get enough of her. Through Medea, Tyler spoke about faith, forgiveness, family, and healing, messages that resonated across generations. But even then, Tyler knew success didn't erase the past. The scars were still there, the pain was still there, but he chose not to let it define him. Instead, he used it. He transformed his hurt into art, his struggles into lessons, his failures into stepping stones. One line at a time, one rehearsal at a time, one handshake at a time. He built his empire brick by brick, show by show. From plays, he expanded into films, from films to television. And then came something nobody could have predicted. Tyler Perry built a 330-acre film studio in Atlanta, Georgia, one of the largest in the United States. A studio so massive it now hosts productions for Hollywood's biggest movies and shows. And here's the beautiful irony: that very land once belonged to a Confederate Army base. Today it belongs to a black man who turned his pain into power. Tyler Perry went from a boy who felt unseen to a man whose work is seen by millions, from sleeping in his car to owning an empire. And he did it with one secret weapon: consistency. So maybe you've been waiting for the perfect time to start. Stop waiting. Take the smallest possible step today. Write one paragraph, make one phone call, learn one new skill. Then, show up again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. You don't have to win in one day, you just have to keep moving forward. Tyler Perry once said, "You can be born into a nightmare, but God can usher you into a dream." Your beginnings don't decide your ending. Forgive when you can, not to excuse the past, but to give yourself the peace you deserve. Let go of what holds you back so you can grow into what's meant for you. And now I'll ask you, what's one small, consistent action you can take today toward your dream? Drop it in the comments. Let your words inspire someone else, because your story could be the next one that changes the world. Start now. Your life-changing moment is already waiting for you.